Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I appreciate that. Welcome out, everybody, for the launch of the Prescott Experiment. We really appreciate everybody taking the time to come out on what is turning out. Yoo-hoo!
Yay!
On what is turning out to be a really, really beautiful day. I'll introduce some folks to you to tell you more about the specifics of this project, but recognize that this is really a novel pilot that we're doing. I'll bring up Adam right now, who is the leader of this experiment, to tell you more about what we're doing here and how it's happening.
My name is Adam Garrett Clark. About 10 years ago, me and my friends, which I call broke hipsters, we leased this lot right next door, which is a 10,000 square foot lot, and we were just trying to create affordable housing for ourselves. We knew that this site from the neighbors was a junkyard, and we had heard stories about mysterious drums of scary liquid. From a little bit of research, we realized the biggest exposure pathways were from inhaling toxic dust or from ingesting toxic dust. So fast forward 8-10 years, we got code enforced, the pandemic happened, we got pressured to leave because it wasn't legal to do what we were doing. And we shut that site down, but we moved a lot of the infrastructure over here to this smaller site. We got basically a free lease, and we got a small grant to do a resiliency hub, which is essentially what we have here, which is basically, you know, we have a big battery bank in that RV, 3 kilowatts of solar, and we have a lot of gardening equipment, and in theory we could be a resource to people in an earthquake or a natural disaster. Then we got this big grant to finally do what I wanted to do when we first moved in, which is to test the soil, see what's going on, and then see if we can't clean it with mushrooms and plants, which is something I've read about for years.
Woo!
So this is the kind of the kickoff of this kind of 8-year journey. So what's in front of us is in the last almost year we've been submitting paperwork and plans to the Department of Toxic Substance Control. And so in a couple weeks, we're going to have a very exciting day where they're going to dig down, pick up soil samples, and test the groundwater, send it in a cooler to labs, and get us a big report on what's going on in the soil. And we want to share that with you guys. And then the next step is we're going to design a year experiment to see if we can't clean the soil using biological processes and share with you along the way. What's going to happen here once it's all clean and allowed to be used, that's up to you guys. And so that's a big question I want everybody to be thinking about and pitching ideas, because eventually when we are allowed to really use this site, we want it to serve the community. So yeah, please keep that in mind.
Thanks, Adam. Let's give Adam another round of applause for his leadership and vision. I mean, what we're attempting here under his leadership and leadership of his organization is something that's really novel, right? So we are taking a brownfield. There are, if you're around here, if you're not, there's plenty of them in this community. And there are multiple threats here, including water intrusion as the water table rises, as we experience rising sea levels will push up toxics throughout West Oakland. And to be able to have a cost-effective way to remediate this really gives power in the hands of the community. And then this vision for what's going to happen here is really an exciting project. And an exciting prospect. So we are partnering with Neighborship. They've hired us to do community engagement work. And when I say we are the Oak Collaborative.
Woo!
That's the Environmental Democracy Project. It's with Tanya. It is California College of the Arts with Julia. And West Oakland Cultural Action Network with myself.
As you heard, we are super excited to work with Neighborship on this project. What is Oak Collaborative? It stands for Oakland Allied Knowledge for Climate Action. We came together 2 years ago under a fellowship and a training program initiated by UC, University of California Climate Center, that promotes community academy partnerships. The idea behind community academy partnerships is that It's trying to break the hierarchy of knowledge, like where knowledge sits and how we get access to knowledge. And it's trying to put it on its head, leading community to show the way of how to do research, what is the data that is really relevant for community members, and how to set the question, how to analyze the data, and then using the resources that are sitting in the academia at service of the community, and not vice versa. Our work in this collaborative that we are so excited about, and I'll introduce all the members in a second, is to streamline these connections between academic institutions, residents and community organizations, and regulatory agencies that we have some representatives here. Thank you all for coming. And with that, I think I'll pass it on to Tanya to talk about the premise of like popular education.
Yeah, Tanya.
Whoa.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm so grateful and happy to be here with everyone. And so, as she was saying, the premise of popular education, as we were talking about before, is that we need to get as much information from the community as we are sharing with the community. This is a collective process of us learning together. As Adam was saying in the beginning, he got a lot of his original information about what the history was from his neighbors, right? Because they are the keepers of that information. And so we are really excited to have our youth ambassadors and our outreach partners so that we can go out into the community and engage the knowledge that exists already in this neighborhood. Because once again, Oakland is innovating. We are starting something that could be duplicated nationwide once we prove it. And so it's very exciting to be at the beginning of something here in our city. And we are just looking forward to seeing this thing shoot off the ground. And yes, now we're going to have our student talk to us some more about brownfields and the actual science behind it. Come here, take it away.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Hi, I'm Wamoyo, and I want to tell you a little bit about Brownside and why we are sort of vouching for Adam's idea of bioremediation to really work. So when an area is a brownfield like this one, or it's contaminated, there's nothing we can do to it. It either sits there, or we have other people come and do remediation work and decide what to do with it. And once that happens, there's so many types of remediation that could happen. They could come, dig the polluted soil, and go contaminate another place, which doesn't help the place they contaminated. And they use a lot of money to dig it up, which means the property value of the land goes really high. Right? Or we could have them come and use chemicals that could react with the contaminants and remove them, which could remove the existing chemicals, but then introduce other chemicals, in which case they have not done anything. And it's also, both methods are very expensive. They cost a lot of money, which means the property value goes up, which means they also decide what to do with the land. So if they decide to build houses, they're going to be very expensive houses because they use a lot of money to redevelop and remediate. And that's why we're sort of vouching for Adam's idea on bioremediation, where we just plant mushroom and have the mushroom suck up the contaminants. They have an idea of the waste that exists already. But once they test it, we can verify and say, oh, we have hydrocarbons, which are left by oil and oil spills from garage and industrial waste. Once they verify these are the chemicals that exist, if we can plant mushroom and then test again, and then we don't have any contaminants, then that means that land has been cleaned up by a very effective method that's not very expensive, which means it can be replicated. Because you can plant mushroom on your backyard. You don't need a lot of companies, a lot of chemicals, you don't need a lot of money to do that. You can go plant mushroom, which means if a brownfield exists in your community, in your neighborhood, you don't need to let it sit there or have other companies or any other person come and do the work for you. You can do that and reclaim your neighborhood, which means we are passing the power to you. And we also want you to design your neighborhood. We don't want some other people coming and making decisions on what this neighborhood should look like. We want you to tell us what you want the neighborhood to look like. And that is the greatest work we want to do here, to do co-creation so that you're part of the neighborhood. The reason I'm so excited about this project is I get to be part of this community, and I get to see this community do whatever they want with this neighborhood in a way that will be replicated by so many other people to put the power in the hands of the community. So I hope you really engage with me as we do this.
Whoa!